Should I stop being a vegan? I'm going to let you help me sort this out. Should I stop being a vegan? I've been a vegan for over 5 years. Now here's the problem with this question. A lot of people, see, I'm part of the 6% of America who's vegan, and even a smaller amount that's actually a male vegan. And if you're not a vegan, it's easy to say, yeah, you should stop being a vegan. You can eat meat and dairy and cheese and eggs, you should. A lot of people want to immediately say that if I were to leave that up to you. Should I stop being a vegan? But I think it's important that you know this about me. I'm not a vegan for animal rights reasons. While that's great for the sake of animals, that's not my motive. And if that were my motive alone, I would have never made this decision. Okay? So just imagine this. I, for decades of my life, couldn't breathe out of one side of my nose. I had constant sinusitis, and anytime allergy stuff would get bad, then I would get a sinus infection. I had dyshidrosis on my hands. What that specifically means, I had blisters. My hands were red, and it really started affecting the mobility of my hands. This was spreading over my body. It was the least of my worries, but on top of that, I was also very much allergic to animals as well. So imagine if you couldn't breathe out of one side of your nose. Every time the seasons changed, or it went from rainy to sunny and stuff like that, you would get sinus infected. You would have drainage coming out. It's basically like being the equivalent of being sick for days at a time, just sporadically throughout the year. You would get these really bad headaches where you could barely even drive a car just because of what was going on with the weather as the weather would change. Okay? Plus your hands were basically on fire all the time and itched all the time. There was no medical cure for dyshidrotic eczema. All these things. And on top of that, if you ever walked into someone's house and they had a dog or a cat somewhere in their house, for the rest of the night your eyes would water and you'd have a headache. And okay, so all that was my life until I became a vegan. And so for 5 years I've been free of those things. I've been freed from those things. Okay, so I know, obviously, I've began eating meat and eggs and dairy again, I would go right back to not being able to breathe out of the side of my nose, hands on fire, skin problems, and allergic to animals again. All those things would come back, and all the headaches. All that would come back if I stopped being a vegan. So with that being said, how do you feel? Should I stop being a vegan should I break my 5-year streak and right now today drive out to Taco Bell or Arby's, whatever it is, get some milkshakes at Burger King? Should I do that? Here's what I think. I think if you're watching this video and you're being truthful and you're not trying to be funny, I think the truth is it'd be hard for you to say, well, yeah, you should stop being a vegan. Because what that's saying is, it's saying that you're wishing a curse upon me, you know? Why would you want to wish bad things upon another person? It's funny because even for me, for my enemies, I don't wish bad things upon them. For my enemies, if I have them, I'm not aware of who they are, but if I had them, I would wish redemption upon my enemies. I wouldn't want to see them punished. I'd want to see them redeemed. I'd want to see them to make better decisions and become better people and to be redeemed. I'd want that. So why in the world would you wish all those health problems back on me? Would be my question. If you know that that's the reason I became a vegan, why would you want me to have to return to those? Or would you say, well, maybe a lot's changed in 5 years. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe it wasn't really you being a vegan. Maybe you just outgrew it at this. That takes a lot of faith to say that, doesn't it? Because now that you've heard my story, basically what it's implying is that despite there being no medical cure for dyshidrotic eczema, despite me having all those allergy and sinus problems which went away, it's to say that being a vegan had nothing to do with it, or it's to admit that in my case, becoming a vegan, no longer eating meat, eggs, or dairy, absolutely had a direct, permanent effect on me no longer having those health issues as long as I continue down this path. So, I asked you 5 minutes ago, I said, should I stop being a vegan? You've heard me talk about it for 5 minutes now. Do you feel, how do you feel? Can you honestly say that you think that I should stop being a vegan now that you've heard what I've said? Because to do so would be to wish bad health upon me. And at the same time, to ignore what I've said, it's denying that my health problems were relieved because I became a vegan. And to say that it wasn't is to say it was all coincidence. So this is a challenging situation, I know, for a lot of people who are genuinely participating in this video. Again, I know there's going to be trolls, there's going to be people who try to be funny and all that stuff. But in my specific case, you can understand why I became a vegan and how my life has become better. So if you're me, honestly, why in the world would I ever want to go back to being a vegan, knowing that I'd be that unhealthy, that uncomfortable, and I'd go back into that prison just so that I can taste meat and eggs and dairy again? You can surely understand, for a guy like me, for a person like me, I have no desire to go back. For me, it's not even so much a choice as it is common sense. This is my fate. I must be a vegan. Otherwise, I'll go back to those decades of being unhealthy again. Now, honestly, vote in the comments. Do you think I should stop being a vegan?